All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Part two continuing. I apologize for that. The power did go off. You see, I had faith. I had hoped for the best, and I expected the worst. And the worst did happen, a power outage during a video. And I hoped it would not happen, hence why I had to do it today. Yesterday was definitely not a good day. Today I had to redo it, but apparently hoping for the best and expecting the worst, like I just said, the worst did just happen. I apologize for that. It was a power outage. I enjoy and quote negativity and what is. It allows me to think about the positives and what should be. Opinionated, but without the negatives, what is positive? Tito. To each their own. And I had left off with the idea, I think I remember, uh, without the idea that there is a negative action or a negative thing, don't do this, or if you do that, this negative thing will happen to you, there would be no potential, an amp, another mind's potential to perceive, yeah, an alternative mental perception, an alternative mind. Yeah. Okay. Without negatives, how could you even think to find a positive within the negative? I had mentioned it before after watching and listening to my parents, for example, argue. Thanks to them solving the problems, they found a way to turn their negatives into a positive and allowed me to turn negatives in my life into a positive aspect. So without those negatives and the experience and confirmation that it was negatives, you would never know what the actual positive is. You could feel happy about something, but that happiness that you feel may be complete and utter sadness for somebody else. The joke being that if you're numbed to the idea of conning other people sexually, conning other people for money, lying to them for benefit, for your cause, and doing what it is you need to do, other people perceive that action as negative, but you perceive that action as positive. And until somebody salesman's your ass, you don't see the negative in it. I don't believe that, because the salesman jokes on himself, the lawyer jokes amongst themselves, doctors joke amongst themselves, cops jokes amongst themselves, everyone jokes amongst themselves. But how dare you, the outsider with maybe experience or no experience, or have a family with experience or hearsay type of experience, how dare you have a say in it? Why not? I have an opinion. I have an opinion on the matter, which is a reason why I did not choose your career field, by the way. A negative that I saw and the positive that you saw. To each their own. And again, I told somebody down here, when I first moved to Florida, I had my very first gig, and I met a woman, well, a young lady, who was going into the EMT field. And I swear to God, I told her, if you want any advice from me, the only advice I have for you is if you have a good heart, make sure you throw it to the side, because you're going to see things, number one, that's hard to see for any human, and you're going to be forced to accept and do things against what you know to be. Give up your heart if you're going to want to do these kinds of things. That is my honest opinion, unfortunately, through my experience. If you have a good heart, don't get involved, which is a weird way to look at it. I was once told, and this is the next post, I'm attempting to just continue where I left off, and I apologize for the inconvenience of the bumpy matter, ladies and gentlemen. I was once told, well, yes, to throw caution to the wind. And I replied, why would I throw it away? I was always meant to be cautious about every step that I take, about every idea that I potentially go on or off board with, that I think about every person I decide to date, or so on and so forth. About every aspect in our lives, we throw a caution step towards it, a testing piece of bait that we don't mind sacrificing because it is meant to be sacrificed, a chip of ourselves that we don't mind losing for the sake of gaining knowledge. That's how I look at it. A caution is something, why would I want to throw it up in the wind? I don't want to freely throw it away. I guess that's my way of trying to control some aspect of a free will, if you will, because I'm not bound by any of that. I am bound by the decision that I make after that bait has been toyed and played with, and then I get my confirmation throughout the experience thereafter. I regret the decision of doing it, whether or not I regret the decision of not doing it, because I will constantly think on the idea of should I have or should I not have? Maybe if I did it this way, perhaps if I never did it at all. Well, all kinds of thought patterns and processes come from those simple little ideas of that little caution step that you take every step of your way. Always testing the water to see if you can swim with these sharks. But if you can see that kind of metaphor in your own lives, why do we throw these metaphors away when some crazy nutso outlandishly speaks it out loud like I have? Well, when you start accepting, I think, that the ideology that we are united in these crazy thought patterns of true beliefs, because there's the unity, but we taboo the idea of the conversation existing in the first place. I claim that to be very incorrect. Pardon me. I claim that to be very, very incorrect. I think we should be speaking about the taboo, because word plays get numbed out through our minds and we filter what we want to. It's like I said about dirty talking. You're never going to get over the dirty way of thinking about something because your friends brought it up in a dirty manner. And even if you attempt to think of it in a different manner, if you hang out with those friends again, you have to be on board with their way of thinking all over again. That line that you have to cross just for your friends, just to maintain these few select individuals, whether it's for personal friendship or because they're good connections for your job references and just money, doing what you have to do. They are part of the people that you do what you have to do with in order to progress with your life and benefit from them and from each other, even, so on and so forth. You could look at that as your positive, and I look at that as a negative. Every time that I perceive that you cross a line that I feel that you crossed, I perceive it as wrong. The admission and the confirmation comes from a conversation with you over a cup of coffee or some form or another, about the things that you may or may not have had to do for a business and why you left them and the things you saw and could not accept. But you still end up crossing thresholds every day. Okay, I don't understand your thought process. Maybe it's your fear of not having a guarantee. I don't have a guarantee. I'm afraid every day. I'm still going to do this. I'm going to fail at some point, and I expect that. And I hope for the best. And the best could be failure, but failure at a later date. Everything is taken in by perceptive values and how you perceive a failure and how others perceive failure for you. Perhaps they feel your failure is within 10 videos, or I perceive my failure is within 10 years of making videos once a week, potentially growing into more or less even, who knows, but 10 years of videos. So I just took a negative and turned it into a positive somehow. I can do that. It's very easy to wordplay, and then you have to be able to believe in that. But don't talk shit then. Don't speak out of your ass. You're talking talks without walking any walks. You see how the connections are made? Needless to say, keep throwing your caution into the wind, and it will be blown away, darling, and they know just how to blow. Whoop. Yeah. The next one, you're going to have to, I'll play it. I'm going to play the beat, and I'm going to try to, I was considering really actually rapping it. These are lyrics. So I'm actually just going to sing the lyrics, not really sing them. I'm going to say these lyrics. I wrote these lyrics down when I was standing watch in the military service. I was an E3 standing hangar bay watch overnight. And I was in my shop at the time, airframe shop by that point. And I had access to the computer. I was on YouTube, listening to a bunch of stupid crap. And this beat came on. I told you I was back and forth. I liked heavy metal and I liked hip hop, and I never truly gave up hip hop out of in full, as you would have glimpsed at with the introduction music on part 1 video. This is part 2, and I apologize for the inconvenience that I have to split it into 2 parts and do it in such a manner. But I need this video to get out there, and on the weekends, I guess it's timing, all about timing. I guess, right? I have to do it. And I got to go into work earlier tonight on Saturday for work purpose reasons that Saturday is going early. I don't give away too much information on that because I do fear that people watching and listening in will find out where I work and then attempt to root me out of the communities. I do nothing wrong where I'm at as far as I'm concerned, and I've been there for quite some time. But I know the community has a say in exactly where I may or may not end up. Y'all don't believe that. Y'all don't see that. But at the end of the day, it's just my crazy perception of this asylum that I live in. Planet Earth. All right, so the lyrics go something like this, kind of a rhyme to it. So I'm going to try to say it in the rhythm that I expect it to be, and then the beat, if you were to listen to it on your own, it kind of matches. And I guess I'll try to do it. All right. Anyway. Like a shadow, I won't let you go, grasping my foe tight by the throat, and I let in a grasp of sin, 'cause I'm on a binge with a power syringe. No, I don't bite like the Antichrist. It's no surprise staring at my eyes. You turn to stone like dug up bones, Big Chuck and Jones staring at the cones. You still don't know. Let me get some mo, 'cause it's got me craving. Circled by ravens, bones for the picking. Evil is lurking, so don't be hating, 'cause I'm just joshing. And I wrote that while I was overnight watch in the Hangar Bay. And to open up on my experience there, I was under the influence of a bullshit chemical called spice, which is no good, ladies and gentlemen. But the desperation, I guess, of needing to be under the influence of something more acceptable than alcohol, I chose a smoking derivative of a poisonous chemical. Dumbass. But needless to say, I wrote that down, and that's one of the very first lyrics I posted publicly on myself. Usually I just write them down in my notes portion of my phone and keep them to myself. And because this was publicized and lost and forgotten about 11 or 12 years ago, something to that degree, I dug it up and found my lyrics on the YouTube comments for this gentleman's video and reposted it a few years ago on Facebook. And I decided to share it on my Laughing Lamp because it is a part of who I am. Not, well, it's hard to explain. I mean, just who I am. Part of the hip hop in me that used to be, part of the hip hop in me that still is, and how it meshed lyrically to a degree. You see, in my Tito program. How it meshed lyrically with any kind of heavy metal or metallic metal type of music that I listen to when it comes to the importance of the lyrics at hand, more so than the beats that groove us into a dancing or headbanging or devil horny mood. That's what it's meant to do. However, the lyrics do capture us should they have song and lyrical value. I have a lot of instrumentals that I listen to, put me in a groovy mood, especially while I'm gaming, or just in the mood to lull myself to sleep. My partner, she uses like a thunderstorm background, which is very calming because thunderstorms will knock me out. And I tend to use a lot of YouTube streaming videos, people who upload their streams once a week or something. And I use the background talking noise. See, I learned to appreciate. In my previous relationship, I actually hated the idea that she had to watch television for her to fall asleep. And I used to say that big bright light just bugs me. And now in my stage of life, I realize it's not the light that bothers me anymore. And it's definitely not the show that I'm watching. I'll get upset when I miss out on what I miss out on after I wake up. But it's really the, when you're thinking about a million things at once, typically speaking, that background noise tends to take your focus away from your thoughts. So the television program or whatever I'm watching takes my million thinking away and solidifies it into one thought of what I'm watching, and allows me to just fantasize myself into what I'm watching instead as a character or gamer in that position. Just we use my fantasy, my imagination. And it allows me to just lull myself to sleep. And then I'll wake up pissed off that I missed a few episodes of something I was actually interested in, but I dozed myself off watching it. But I learned the value of having a television or some form of background noise on as I attempt to sleep. You see, we'll joke and say that it takes me an hour to fall asleep. And I'll stare at my ceiling for hours even sometimes before I knock out. That's because I'm thinking too much. I'm always thinking. So I'm tired, but whether my eyes are tired now, my body is tired now, both are tired now, I still can't rest. One takes over the other. Something or there or another. I'm just thinking too much. So background noise and background visual, especially, allows me to take my thinking away from what I am thinking and jump into a fantasy that knocks me out. And I learned over the years that I don't dream. I dream like, see, you'd have to be familiar with the anime. I dream like a Naruto toad, only a prophetized type of dream, like once every 6 months to a year. Otherwise, it's just black on black. I will fall asleep, and in a matter of minutes, 6 hours go by, and I'm up. And that's my sleep all the time. Just a black sliver of, well, blackness into a grouchy wake up. What the fuck? My alarm's going off. Why? It's only been a few minutes. No, but that's my sleep for years. So we get used to that. It is when we have that dream, whether it's a good dream or a nightmare, those are the ones that we will remember. I know my own partner will potentially dream every sleep. The child will dream every sleep and then wake up and talk about her nightmares or whatever all the time. I said, boy, that's nice of you. I don't get them but once a blue moon. Heard that saying before, right? But I've never actually seen a blue moon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for trying to join on the part 2 version of it. And I apologize for that cutout and the way that this had to go. So here's a quick 15 to 20 minute type of video, continuing hopefully properly where I left off on part 1. And the simple form of sake of getting this video out there for everybody. Thanks to you again, for everybody, for joining me at the Laughing Lamp, a retreat where we retreat you the way you have treated us all our lives. I was your host, Jin of the Lamp, and I hope I was your interfere. Y'all enjoy the rest of this weekend. Take care and stay safe, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, and I apologize again for any inconvenience of my video. All right.